Hello and welcome back to Rue's Life from a very soggy and steamed up room. So I'm not going to talk too long to camera because I really genuinely can't see you through the steam of my glasses. But I thought it'd be really interesting in a very non-moany, whingy, pity party way, just as a general, I'm laughing, it's funny. But the bits that I kind of don't show you. So I just think it's really important that so many channels and other social media areas, we just see these perfect lives, and it's all too easy to feel as though we're not good enough. And especially at this time of the year here in the UK particularly, but do put me a comment below if you're in another part of the world and you feel the same. We've gone through kind of Yuletide, we're still not into spring, it's dark, often the weather is a bit miserable, and this is the time sort of between January and March really that it's all too easy to feel a bit down in the doldrums. And the reason I've just jumped on today is we've done some brilliant things, and I'm going to talk you through those later. I am also going to give you a tour of the whole of our homestead, so the whole of the small holding or farm, including the vegetable plot, and a little cottage tour as well. I have done cottage tours in the past, but there's been a few changes and I've got a lot of new people subscribing. So thank you so much to any of you that are new. So let me just unmist my glasses and I'll come straight back to you. So it's the 22nd, I now can see you. It's the 22nd of February. And as you can see, I'm absolutely soaked. And the reason for that is, I'll be honest with you, you can probably tell I'm being jolly, but I'm really not feeling great today. So I started this morning with a really bad migraine. But I can't just stop. So I did have to cancel. I had a PT session this morning. I've got an amazing PT instructor. She's called Paula. I don't know if you'll be watching this, Paula. I know you did ask for a link to my channel. So if you're watching, you are amazing. And I'm so sorry that I missed this morning. I'm starting to feel better, but I had to just sleep. We're coming up to 12 o'clock now, and I just could not get going this morning. Everything's taken me twice as long. And I've got an appointment this afternoon at 1 o'clock. I have to take the car for a service and MOT. What I wanted to just jump on and say is, even on the pooey days, even on the days where we don't feel too great, it's throwing it down with rain outside. Chris went off early, and although I managed to sleep for a couple of hours this morning after taking some medication to shift... I'm so sorry. Pippa, good girl. Shush. Perhaps we'll go into another room because I'm sitting in the chair she likes to be in, and I've just popped her in a crate because we have been out, which is why I'm soaked, and she's had masses of exercise, so just bear with me. Okay, I've come into the kitchen. I'm just checking, actually, is the kitchen looking a mess? So look at me, I'm absolutely soaked. I'm still wearing my very soggy Ugg boots. On the floor here, I've got an absolutely dripping wet lunge line and soaking wet harness. I am soaked through because I put on my puffer jacket, which is water repellent, but it's not waterproof. I was just out for too long in the pouring rain. So my point being, even on a day where I don't feel too brilliant and the rain is bouncing down and it's cold and horrible, when you're living what some people see as this idyllic, beautiful country life on a homestead, the reality is there are many days like this. So I can't dry my coat and I can't dry Pippa's bits and pieces because there is no heat in this house unless we have a fire in. We didn't put a fire in because it's quite mild, but it's raining. So it is now 11:45. I've got 45 minutes before, 45 minutes before I have to leave to take the car. So instead of my car just being, as I have done, I have them for 3 years and then I take it back and have a new one. That's run over because the new car hasn't been made. So now I have to have an MOT and service, which I wouldn't normally have to have. So that's hassle number one. I need to dry things. So I'm going to have to go out again in the rain to the woodshed, get some kindling and some logs and get the fire going just to dry things because it's not cold, it's just damp. But as I say, without doing that, nothing's going to dry, and then I'm going to need to use wet things again. So my coat's going to be wet and Pippa's things are going to be wet, and my boots are actually quite wet as well. So I just wanted to jump on and say, you know, and I had to take Pippa out for exercise because we've taken on this, obviously, as you're aware, lovely new puppy. Fabulous news about Pippa. So having been really poorly, I was unable to get her vaccinated. But yesterday we took her and she was such a good girl. And she's had her first vaccination and her microchip, which is just wonderful. It fills us with joy, and she was such a good girl. We can't take her off the farm until she's obviously had her second vaccination, but it's really important that I start socialising her, and she needs to go out and get off the farm and meet people and dogs and situations, because she's still very young, and if we don't do those things with her, we're going to have behavioural issues further down the line. So I've been out in the garden for half an hour with her playing Kong, where we throw the Kong, which you saw in the last video, and today there was no training, it was just playtime. And I'm now going to go out and get logs and sticks and get a fire in to get everything dry. Now we are lucky, the wood burner does the central heating, and obviously it heats from the burner itself. It also does our hot water, but we do have an immersion heater, so I can click a switch for hot water so that I can have a shower because there's no way I want to go out looking like this. So I just wanted to jump on and talk to you about that, and I'm going to get going now, but I'll catch up with you again either later today or tomorrow. Let's hope the weather's better. I want to give you a full tour of the farm, the plot and the cottage, and I'm also going to talk to you about things that I've been doing. I've had some amazing, Bill Bailey, which I'd mentioned to you already, and there's a couple of other amazing things that I've been up to, so I'll talk to you about those this afternoon or tomorrow.
That's a good boy. There you go. So, as promised, the sun is shining, hooray, and I thought it would be an ideal opportunity to give you a tour of the whole of the farm. So the land that we've got, the plot, and inside the cottage. So I've just given the boys their breakfast. We've got just short of 10 acres here, and it's split into various paddocks. And to those of you that are new, what we have here, we've got 4 Wiltshire Horn pedigree ewes. We have a Welsh Mountain pony, 2 horses, one of which is a thoroughbred ex-racehorse, and the other is a Shire thoroughbred cross, and he's an ex-hunter. I am a dressage rider, so I don't jump anymore. I used to years ago. I did some eventing, but that's a very long time ago. We've also got Victor, our tortoise. We have 10 chickens at the moment. 4 of them are ex-battery, and the others are Old English game, or some of them are Old English game cross. And we have Kaylee, our 3-legged greyhound, and our newest addition that you'll have seen recently, Pippa the lurcher. So let's have a look around. So just to give you some context, the cottage is over there with the barn next to it. We've got another barn up the top end of this field, which we've converted into stables. You can just see in the distance there, I'll zoom in. There, those are our sheep. They don't have names, they're just sheep, sheep, sheep and sheep. There was a plan with them to build the flock, but for various reasons it didn't happen. But they're absolutely gorgeous, and they do a grand old job of eating down the bits of grass that the horses don't. This area in the middle, you can see the markers, it needs mowing, it's been let go a bit over the winter, but this is my grass menage, which is 20 by 40, where I exercise and practice dressage. And then if I just take you around, so obviously you can see we've got this paddock here, and the corner of the stables, that's our driveway, which we'll have a look at in a moment. And then we've got Sonny the pony, he's just having his breakfast here. He's just in here at the moment because the spring grass is starting to come through, so I just need to be careful. So the horses have spent the bulk of the winter in this field, so there's not a huge amount left in here now, which is perfect for him so he doesn't put too much weight on. So we've got this field here, and then we have split, this is one big field, but we've split it with electric fencing. So the two big horses are up the top there at the moment, and little Sunny will join them. So this is Sunny, that's Garth and Fish. And then that field goes all the way up, you can see the tree line. And then we've got another field that drops away, which I'll show you in a moment. We've got automatic water troughs in most of the fields, or a hose with a standpipe and buckets in others, so we can keep them fresh supply of water at all times. This is our cronky old tractor, which we acquired with the farm. I may have mentioned before, I think possibly last week, we actually rent the farm, we don't own it. We love it and it's our home, but it doesn't actually belong to us, we do rent it, and we acquired the tractor, it was part of the rental deal. And then we'll just go along and I'll show you just behind the tractor, because what we've got here is not only a bucket of water for the sheep, but this little structure here, this is the pump house, and you can see there's a cover here. This is a borehole, and so the whole of the farm, our water supply comes from the borehole, and this is the pump house. It's got various bits and pieces inside it, I don't need to bore you with that, to basically keep our water supply to the farm and to the house. So let's have a walk around. I'm just going to pick you up because you're on the tripod, and we'll have a little walk. Now I don't have a gimbal, so apologies if it's a bit of a bumpy ride. I'll try and keep it as steady as I can. So as I say, at the top end of this field, we'll get a little bit closer. I'm trying to work out which is the best way to take you. So we'll pass the sheep. So this is, as I say, we're walking through now what is my grass menage, but it does need a mow. But it's nice and level, so it's a great place for exercising horses. And I've just spotted some partridge up ahead. I think you'll have missed them because they're too far away. But we get a lot of partridge here because if I just gently take you around, so this stubble field and the wooded area over there is where our local shoot come and shoot, and we often get gifted partridge and pheasant. There's one just shot across in front of the stables. I don't know if you can see running along there. And they often come and shelter in the stables, and that's fine by me. So this was just a tractor barn when we came here. You can see there's a big tank there, and that's part of the water system. And what we've done is basically just put some gates across and built internal stabling, really, with ply. So we've got loose boxes. We do have a ladder in here at the moment because we've got some storage. So this is the smallest of the boxes at the end, which is Pony's box, and then we've been getting some wire down from the storage up there. But yeah, this is the three loose boxes for the horses, and then just a bit of a standing area that we've made out of rubber matting. So it's hardly posh, but it serves its purpose. And then we've just got a little bit of storage here and a radio, as the horses and myself like to listen to the radio, so we can keep rugs and various bits and pieces and boots and things. And then I think what we'll do is we'll go down the drive and look at the plot, and then we'll do the rest of the land, and then we'll do the plot at the end. So next to the house, you'll have seen me with the chickens. So this is the chicken area in what is also our orchard. So we have apple trees, a damson, and then this enormous tree here is actually a pear tree just outside the chicken area. and you can see what's coming up in here at the moment, and daffodils, and we've just got the first ones starting to come into flower, excuse my shadow. And then we've got this chicken run area, their chicken house, but they also free range in this little paddock in the orchard. It's really muddy at the moment, but it'll soon green up again in the spring and summer months. So let's go through this gate. So this is what we term our garden, but it is actually was a paddock. You can see there's a water trough in there, and prior to us living here there would have been sheep in here. So that's the chicken area. So you can see for 10 chickens they've got a really decent size area, and we have this electric netting to keep them safe from any foxes or badgers. We have got about to burst into flower. We've had lots of snowdrops. You can see all these daffodils that are about to come. So these daffodils and snowdrops were already here when we moved here, but what we have done is underneath this beautiful oak tree, just gorgeous, I've over the years put bulbs in here. So we've got tulips, daffodils, grape hyacinths, crocuses. I'm trying to think what else is there. So we have an absolute riot of colour through the spring. It's all around the base of this tree in a big circle, and it's just delightful. We've got some storage sheds here. That's the outside of our teeny tiny cottage, which I will show you shortly. And then we've got an open-ended barn, which we use for storage, and also it's great for drying the washing. So I won't hover too long because you don't really want to look at our pants. And then this is Victor the tortoise's area. So he's tucked up at the moment. In the summer months his little door, let me move around, his little door is open so he can come in and out, but at this time of the year he lives in there. He's got a slab and he gets plenty of food and water. We are led by him. He hasn't chosen to hibernate. If he did start to hibernate, then we would continue the procedure, but we've only had him 2 years and so far he hasn't wanted to, so we let ourselves be led by him, and that's his little zone. Or I say little, it's quite big for him, and he gets to yomp about in there. And then we'll walk around the rest of the farm. So you've seen the top field up there where the 2 big horses are, and the paddock that the pony's in, and the paddock that the sheep are in, and where the stables are. So now we'll just go and look. We've got another 1, 2, 3, 4 paddocks up this end, and then there's the paddock that the plot is in. So let's go and have a look at those. Again, I'm just going to flip you. There we go. That's Chris just popping out to the post office. Give him a little wave. So through this gate. So this is an area, if you've ever watched any of my videos where we have the farrier, this is a really useful hard standing area. We've got string to keep it safe, so they can break free if necessary, that we can tie the horses to. And this is a nice hard standing area where we get them shod, and we also store our haylage here. And then Chris is just heading out to the village, and we're going to head across, and it's quite muddy. So this is the other end of the barn. It's useful for, we store our bins and things in here, so it's quite useful to just pop the bins out to take them down the drive when we need to put the bins out. And then let's have a little yomp through the fields. So it's really very wet at the moment. One of Pippa's favourite games at the moment on her lunge line is to run through this enormous puddle. She absolutely loves it, but you can see it's really quite waterlogged here at the moment, but it soon dries up. So this is another paddock, and you can see there, just about to see the horses. We've got a little paddock there in the corner that we built, and that's for the summer months when there's too much grass for Sunny, the little pony. He just spends some time in there where he's still out, and he can see and talk to the other horses, so it's nicer than being shut in a stable, but it just restricts his grazing because, as I say, we just have to be mindful with him not to let him get overweight or to get a condition called laminitis. So then this is the next paddock, giving you a nice view of the sky. We have electric tape or wire around all of our fencing, and that's just to keep them safe. They'll only touch it once in a lifetime. They know what it is, and it just keeps them off these fences. In an ideal world, we would not have this barbed wire or even this type of wire. It's not great for horses, but again, we rent the farm and there's only so much that we can invest, and to replace all these with post and rail not only would be a massive job, it would also be very expensive. And while we like to invest, there's only so much you can spend on a property that eventually we will leave. Don't like thinking about it because we're so happy here. So then if I just take you here, you'll get an idea. There's a paddock at the front here, and we don't put the horses in this one, we only ever put the sheep in it. So you can just see it starts here, there's the gate, and it runs along the roadside and it tapers off into the corner, and then that is actually mirrored on the other side of the drive, which is where the plot is, and I'll show that properly to you in a minute, but just to give you perspective. And you can see we're quite close to a road, but it doesn't bother us at all. And then let's go through this gate. So another paddock. I don't know if you, oh, that's the gate banging. I don't know if you can hear how squelchy it is. Again, another beautiful oak. It did lose a limb in some of the storms, but it's survived, and the whole tree has survived, which is great because we were quite concerned. We've got lots of lovely hedgerow. We've got oak trees. We have got elder. We've got sloes. We've got we have rose hips. I'm trying to think what else we've got. We've got hazel. So we've got, it's a really abundant hedgerow, and we can forage. So again, another paddock, and then I'm not going to walk you all the way around this end paddock, but I'll just show it to you. So yeah, look at this mighty oak, it's beautiful. And you hear the birds singing. So let's squelch along through the mud. I mean, it's not too bad, but yeah, it's pretty boggy underfoot at the moment. You can see next door's fields are really flooded. So this paddock is very slopey, so we never put the horses in here, but the sheep do graze this one. So again, automatic watering trough, which is fed from the borehole, and you can see, I don't know if it'll really show it with the camera, but this really drops away and drops away here and goes up. It's an absolutely brilliant sledging field. So just here is where it starts to drop. So when we get snow, we bring feed bags and we sledge in here, and it's great fun. So that is our land. So let's go and look at the plot. So you can see the polytunnel there and the shed in the distance. And it's actually a lovely day here today, so I did open up the polytunnel first thing, just for a couple of hours, but the temperatures are dropping again because the sun's gone behind a cloud, so I may close that up. I'll see, but it was about 10 degrees in there a couple of hours ago. I don't actually know what time it is, but yeah, the warmer weather is coming. And let's go and look at the plot. So we do have this sheep handling area here, which is really useful. We haven't had to use it a huge amount because we've only got the 4. We had 5 ewes and now we've got the 4. But prior to us living here, there was hundreds of sheep here, and this would have been used on a probably daily basis for, you know, doing feet and checking them, and then moving them through the race and onto the drive and taking them off in trailers. But we're not farming like that. This is our home, and our animals are pets. They're just a hobby. The only thing that produces anything is the chickens. So let's close this up. Under normal circumstances, if there's livestock in here, this would be tied and brick at the bottom to keep it secure, but we just walk the dogs in there at the moment. So then through this little gate and across to the plot. And then for those of you that were following the caravan restoration, just pop you up the drive. So say the drive goes all the way up to the top, and we've got a bit of land on one side. I will be showing you, we haven't stopped. We just didn't do as much through the winter, so it just needs a good clean again on the outside. We've started, Chris has done the flooring on the inside, and we're going to get going with the caravan again, and I will do some filming for you. This is that holly hedge that is growing up again, but we need to cut that back, but it'll be a much easier job now that we've got the bulk of it done, because this is the one that was blocking out the light to the plot. So I haven't opened up the shed. I'm sure you've seen enough of the inside of my shed, and I'm not going back to the house for the keys now because we're over here, but most of you are pretty familiar with the plot. We've got this area here which we do as wildflower meadow, got my beautiful shed, and then the polytunnel, I say I opened that up a couple of hours ago, and then I've got the flower bed, and then we've got veg bed here, 1, 2, 3 veg beds and a fruit bed, and we will be extending a little bit. So at the moment, as you saw in previous videos, I just need to weed these beds, and I need to finish weeding the pathways and putting some fresh bark down. This bed has autumn fruiting raspberries, strawberries, and then I grew some sweet peas up that obelisk. This has all got a little bit overgrown, but I've got a little rhubarb bed there, and you can see the rhubarb's bursting into life. I love this time of year when things start to come. There's a bench here which has got netting on it at the moment. That tub has some rhubarb in it. This is the compost area. And then this, as you can see, mirrors the paddock that I showed you earlier and tapers off. So at some point, we're going to be putting the greenhouse up, probably in the hedge line, but not too close. And then I'm just going to put a few more beds in here, and then that'll be it. I don't want to go mad. And the reason I never want to make the plot too big is that it has to be manageable for me. So holding down a full-time job and living with chronic health conditions, and obviously I've got the livestock and the dogs and, you know, running a home. If I go crazy and make the plot too big, I know it'll get away from me. But because we're going to be putting up the greenhouse, it's a perfect opportunity to just put a couple more beds in. And just before we go and have a little look inside the cottage, I'll just give you a little update. We did go to see Bill Bailey, and it was absolutely brilliant. If ever you get the opportunity to go and see him, I can highly recommend it. Very talented, very funny man. We also went to Boatlife live, and I'll put the footage in now.
Ever had a go at virtual reality fishing? Discharge your skills as fishing simulator in stand E51.
That's clever. It's a nice little shower.
So we had the opportunity to look round a couple of narrowboats. I bought a really nice dry bag, rucksack that would be useful for when I go wild swimming. And also my lovely swim buddy Jules, who you'll have seen me swim with in lots of videos. For my birthday, she bought me and us a trip to a local sauna and plunge pool, and it was absolutely wonderful. Set in the hills and not too far from here, about a 40-minute drive. And the plunge pool is fed by water that comes off the Berwyn mountain range, and it's a wood-fired sauna, and it was an absolutely fabulous experience. So let's do the cottage interior as well while we're here. So this is our dining room. It's little, but it does the job. There's the houndies. Pippa's just crated at the moment. She gets lots of time out, but she is a puppy, and she's quite secure in that crate. We've got a wood burner. It's multi-fuel, but we generally use wood, and it has a water jacket around it, so it kicks plenty of heat out, and it also runs the radiators. So this is our dining room, and our little kitchen in here. So it's only tiny, but it does the job. And then we've got a little shower room through here. So, you know, everything you would need. We've got a sink, a toilet, and a shower, which is one of these gorgeous, we've not long put this in actually, and it's one of these rainfall with a little second shower head as well. So only a small space. We've put storage on the back of the door here because it is such a small room, but it does the job. And then if we just go through the dining room into our snug. So we've got a sofa, a lovely fireplace where we often have an open fire, and desk space. This is where I do all my editing. We've got another little desk there, and the monitor is actually on an arm, so we can swing it out if we want to watch a film or something and sit on the sofa. And then this is my picture wall. And one of the things we love is that whether we're here, we've got some bird feeders so I can see the birds when they're eating, but I can also see the chickens from this room and also from the dining room, which is just lovely. So let's go upstairs. So the cottage is very small, but as I say, it's just perfect for just the two of us. So let's go up. So we've got a little landing with a bit of storage that just sits perfectly there. And then I'll just show you if I turn around. We've got basket storage on the steps, just for additional storage really. And then we've got a spare room, which is also where we store paddle boards and swimming gear and all sorts of other bits and pieces. There's the geraniums that I'm overwintering. They're looking really good. And the view from here is across towards the vegetable plot. And then we've got just a single bed in here if anybody wants to stay. And it's also useful. We've got blackout blind that pulls down on the window for when I'm in between night shifts, so I can get a decent sleep during the daytime. And then across the landing into our room. Again, it's small, it's absolutely fine, and it gets lovely light because we've got this gorgeous Velux window here. So I'll just open that for a minute so you can see. We can look out again at the chickens and across the farm, and it's absolutely, let me just tilt the camera, it's a beautiful view. Hang on just a moment, there's not much space, I'm on the tripod. There we go. I mean, look at that view, it's just gorgeous. There's the chickens scritching about. So it's actually quite chilly. So let's close the window up. Give you a nice view of the blue skies that we've got today. And then again, the geraniums that I'm overwintering in here as well. And I'm going to cut those back soon because they've been flowering. They've been looking absolutely gorgeous. And that's our room. So I really hope that you've enjoyed a tour around our homestead, the land, the animals, the plot and our cottage. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and I'll see you all soon.